Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sen.
15 PCA.
810-454.
Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in the description below. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. Before we start, this is the warning that's on the episode on Amazon Prime. They show this. So if this bothers you or triggers you or it's just something you don't want to hear about or see, just go ahead and skip this episode. I think it's a great episode because it shows you how horrible and awful the adult film industry is and the things that can happen. And these are the things that happen to these people. And this extends to like OnlyFans and all the other stuff because eventually it leads to this. But if that is something you don't want to experience or talk about, just I know that I like the episode, but it does have this content in it. And there's some scenes where he gets slapped around and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is pretty, it's a little visceral, and even though it's an animated show and it's very artistic in the way that the characters are drawn, it's a little real. It's a little too real, but it's good though because we need to talk about these kinds of things. Anyways, Hazbin Hotel episode 4. This is the one everyone's like, oh, wait till you see this episode. It's a good episode. It doesn't even need to be in this show. This episode could have been a movie. It could have been a story. It could have been a live action television show, because everything that happens here, nothing about it makes it to where, oh, it needed to be in this Hazbin Hotel world. This is a real thing that happens to people every single day, where they're in a lifestyle where they chose it, but it's destroying them. It's eating up their soul. It is completely destroying them. And we see this with Angel. It's not a good life. He may say he likes all these things, and he says that, oh yeah, I like all these guys and I get to sleep wherever I want with. And no, it's soul destroying, and it crushes you and it makes you want to do harmful things to yourself, and it lets other people do harmful things to you. And the guise of, oh, freedom, there's no freedom here. You have shackled yourself to saying that I'm so free, I can do all these things. And no, you can't, because you can't stop. If you're so free, you'd be able to stop. But we open up the episode, and normally I would say character episodes, because there's no story here. There's nothing about the angels killing the demons, a war. There's none of that storyline goes anywhere. It's 100% about Angel. And thank God there's only an A plot. There's no A plot, B plot. It's all about Angel and everything he's going through. And guess what? It's a better episode because of it, because you don't have to split the storyline between two, a good story and then like, oh, here's a silly little side story. No, it's just stay with the good story. But we open up with first you see like Angel all tied up and everything. I'm like, okay, we see this wolf guy. I'm like, I've never seen this dude before. And it's like a cop. He's like, oh, I'm going to make you talk. And it's one of his adult movies. And it's very graphic. You don't ever see anything. There's a lot of little flash clips in like for later in the episode, but you never actually see any actual, they do a good job of like hiding it, but the dialogue is very horrific. I will not repeat the dialogue. The dialogue is really, really bad. So basically this wolf guy is going to SA him and to get him to talk. And it's like, and they're all watching the movie in the living room, and Charlie can't really watch it because, even though she's in hell, she still doesn't like these kinds of things. And they're like, why the heck did you show us this movie? He's like, oh yeah, I just want to show you like some of my best work, Then we get, what's the bartender's name again? Dusk. He is like, Keith David is an amazing voice actor. I still don't buy his voice coming out of this character's body. It just doesn't fit for me personally. But he's like, you need to talk to, you got some problems, Angel. And he does. He has a lot of problems. Like, you need to talk to someone. Talk to your bartender. Like, you tell him everything. He's like, oh, F you. And then Angel's always pushing him into an uncomfortable situation where it's like, oh, I could take you upstairs and I'll basically do all these sexual things to you. And he's like, no, I don't want that. But Angel does it because he's starting to get to the core of what Angel's problem is. But then Angel will push back and say something or do something so over the top, it pushes anyone away from trying to help. Like, oh, I'll just make it a sex thing and I'll make them uncomfortable. Then they won't want to help me. So he just basically does that. And he's like, I'm tired of your BS. Like, I know everything about these people. Like, he's like, going down the line. Oh, she has daddy issues. Oh, she has she's too clingy, and then kind of calls out everybody, which is pretty dang accurate. But then Angel is like, oh, he gets a call, and he goes from being this super confident guy of like, yeah, I do what I want. Gets a call from Valentino, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, hello. He's getting screamed at. He's getting yelled at. He's very 100% opposite of confident, because all that was fake. That was fake confidence. That was fake bravado. And then this is who Angel is. He is an abused person who's being forced into doing all this stuff that involves him getting SA'd all the time. So he's pretty scared when he's talking to him. He's like, oh, I got to go make a movie. Then Charlie's like, hey, we're not done with today's lesson. We're supposed to be, the hotel for rehabilitation, all that good stuff. They're like, no, I got to make a movie. And he makes the comment of, well, I would stay if it was up to me, I would stay. But it's Valentino, and if he could somehow make him nicer, then I'd be able to stay. He kind of says it offhandedly, but freaking Charlie is so childlike. And she's like, oh, okay, if I go talk to his boss, maybe he'll give him more time off. Yeah, because in hell, that's what bosses do. They give you time off. People on Earth don't give people time off, let alone bosses in hell, So she's going to go to the film studio and go talk to the boss. Then we get to the adult film studio, and it's just filled with I'm going to pick and choose my screenshots very carefully, because it's just filled with stuff that will get my video taken off YouTube. So another scene where a bunch of people break in and they're all gonna gang SA him. So that's part of this movie. As it's starting, so they're gonna start going to town on him. Charlie walks in and he sees Charlie and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna stop the scene." I take this two different ways. One, he knew Charlie was gonna go in there and mess up the shoot, and I think two, secretly, deep down inside, he was embarrassed. Because Charlie is a good person, a kind and gentle and just kind of like a motherly figure, someone who's purely innocent. And then to watch me getting railed by like 13 guys, he was embarrassed. Even though I don't know if people are going to agree with me on that way, but you can see in his face, he's like, oh my God, Charlie, shut down. I need to go talk to her. He doesn't want her to see it. Like, sure, after the movie was made or whatever, but to see it happening live while her eyes are on you as it's happening, then it's embarrassing, because it should be, because it's the lowest form of art, I guess, if you want to say. It's like you just having sex. Oh, wow, what a big thing. But he's talking to Charlie. He's like, Charlie, what the flying F are you doing here? She's like, oh, I'm here and I'm going to talk to your boss. And he's like, no, do not talk to my boss. But he sees her. He's like, oh, the princess of hell. Oh, I'm glad you're here. And he's a complete, utter pervert. He like licks her arm and everything. Gross. Super gross. And he's like, oh, do you want to be in a movie? Yeah, I'll make you into a story. I'm sure you will. But he's like, hey, leave her alone. She just wants to check things out. Since she's their dad's Lucifer, she can pretty much go and do whatever she wants. So she's there and she's like, oh, I just want to be here. I want to talk to, let you shoot your movie or whatever. And I need to talk to you afterwards. So they're going to go do the movie again. But there she is. She's like talking to one of the camera guys about the hotel, about how, oh, you can be redeemed and all that. So it shuts up the production again. Valentino's like, okay, cut. Angel, I need to talk to you in your dressing room. And this is where we get to because they're in a relationship, but Angel's in a relationship with everybody, but this is still like a intimate couple, and Valentino starts slapping him around, like hitting him and stuff, and get that girl out of here. Why did you bring her here? What did you do that you thought she was going to fight your battles? You're such an idiot. I got you under contract. You're not going nowhere. You do what I tell you to do. You have sex who I tell you to have sex with. You do the acts I tell you to do. It's very, I can see how if someone has ever experienced something like this, how this could trigger really bad memories and emotions, because this is the kind of nasty, disgusting things people who do these things, how they talk, and the physical violence. It's just because he slaps the ever crap out of him. It's awful, but this is what this work does. This is what sex work leads to. This is what the adult film industry is about. It's not like, oh, it's so empowering and it makes you strong and, oh, I'm in control of my body. Obviously, Valentino's in control of Angel's body. Angel can't do what he wants to do. So yes, it's disgusting, it's horrible, and it's I don't like it at all, the victimizing people. If you exercise unrighteous dominion over someone, and what I mean by that, like a parent can control their child because you have righteous dominion over your child to protect them, to teach them, to make sure they grow up. You have no right to control another person's body, especially an adult. And in this kind of scenario where it's like, oh, it's not like, oh, my mom made me go to church one time and, oh, she made me wear a dress. Okay, that's not this. This is literally the exact opposite of that. But this is considered liberating in a lot of people. Like, that's one thing. But when people like this episode, don't you see how awful all this is? But this is what they champion all the time. Ugh. Anyways, Charlie is being Charlie and ends up lighting the whole entire set on fire. Because she's just a clumsy little klutz. And then Valentino tells Angel, tell her to get out of here. So then you get Angel has to be mean to Charlie. And it's very sad. Because Angel doesn't want to be mean to Charlie. Nobody wants to be mean to Charlie because she's so kind and sweet and innocent. And in the world of hell, you can be mean to anyone because everyone's there because they did things and they deserve to be there. Charlie doesn't deserve to be there. she did nothing wrong. She's just there. And he's like, get out of here. I didn't tell you to come here. And he's being super mean to Charlie. But you can even hear it in his voice that it's hurting Angel to say these things. And he's almost doing it to like, just get you out of here so you don't have to experience any of this. Just go, get out of here. She ends up crying and leaving. And then Angel feels like absolute crap. And then it's like, okay, go do your scene. And we also see that Valentino has like a I want to say almost like a venom type, but it's like you smell it. Kind of reminds you of poison ivy, but where it's like a drug. And okay, get piped up. It's time to do the show. You're gonna be filming all day today. So then we get into a song. It's a good song, but I am going to not show many clips from it because it's filled to the brim with physical violence, being SA'd, it's just, oh my goodness, the imagery here it's hell. It's literal hell. But it's a song about being like, oh, I'm addicted to the poison, the venom, it's in me. I hate it, but I love it. That's addiction. That is 1,000,000% addiction. Because when you don't have that craving, you're like, oh my goodness, why am I doing all these horrible things? But when that hits you, your mind is warped, your heart is warped, and then you jump right back into it because then you crave it again. It's addiction at its very core, and it's awful, it's horrible, and people going through it don't want to be in it. But they are powerless to do anything about it because it is that once those claws are set, and every day that you do it, they get just a little bit deeper, and it is tough to beat. You can beat it. You are capable of overcoming anything, but sometimes some stuff is just really hard. And so we get a whole song about that. It's a good song, but like I said, everything about it is awful because you see parts of the stuff where it looks like he's enjoying it. Then there's parts where he's obviously not enjoying what's happening to him. Like it's actually physically painful. And then you get the addiction, like, where he looks like he's about to, unalive himself. It's such a horrible situation. But he got caught up in all this. I guess he signed a contract, but what was he already in hell when he signed this contract, or did that what caused him to go to hell? Like, I'm not understanding, like, if you're already in hell, why sign any contract? There's nothing good. Nothing good's going to come to you when you're in hell. Anyways, he makes his way back home and he to the hotel. He's like, oh, give me a drink. He's talking to Dusk. And it's the same kind of conversation where he just comes on super strong sexually to throw Dusk off. And he's like, dude, I'm just trying to actually help you. And every single time I try to help you, you do this whole thing where you're like, oh, come to my room and do all that stuff. He's like, no, I'm not interested in that. And he's like, oh, F you, buddy. You couldn't afford me even if, and I'm giving you a freebie and you don't even want it. And they kind of get into a scuffle about it. And he keeps calling him fake. But guess what, Angel? You're real fake, bro. The real Angel hardly ever comes out because he has to have this mask and this, oh, I'm the porn star mega supremo, so I always have to be about the sex all the time. And no one can be like that. And no one should be forced to feel like they have to be that. But he's like, F you, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going where I want to go. He takes off. And then Charlie's super upset about everything that happened. And she's like, I'm going to go after him. Like, no, Charlie, not you. You know, somebody else should go after him. And Dusk's like, it's not going to be me. But of course he does, because deep down, he's a decent guy too. We don't really know his story. We learn a little bit about him in this episode. So he follows him to some bar, and he's drinking, and he's keeping an eye on Angel, and Angel like is basically telling his version of what happened. Yeah, and I told him he couldn't afford me, and they're all laughing. They're gonna go get Angel a drink, and the guy puts a drug in his drink. I'm like, this is hell. Like, shouldn't that just be like mandatory? But of course, Dusk is like, I'm not gonna let him drug him, you know. But here's the thing: would it be necessary to drug Angel? Like, if they were going to want to be like to have sex with him, I'm pretty sure he'd just do it, right? Like, am I crazy into thinking that the drug in the drink was unnecessary? Like, you can't. He's willing. He wants to do these things. Like, I don't get I guess it's just so Dusk could have something to save him from. Starts fighting that guy, pulls Angel out of it. He's like, dude, we're getting the hell out of here. We're going home. Get the hell off me. You don't know what I want. What are you doing? He's like, hey, that guy put something in your drink. And he's like, yeah, I know. I don't care. Like, you don't think I don't know my drink has been drugged? He's like, you're spiraling, Angel. This is not good. You're putting yourself in these dangerous, awful situations. And, you know, I wish he would have been... I thought for sure that he was going to bring up Charlie. He's like, Charlie wants what's best for you. Like, I don't know about anyone else in hell, but Charlie truly just wants you to be happy and to be not forced into doing things. They don't ever bring her up. And I'm like, I would have brought her up, because you can't be mad at Charlie. It's impossible. You can be irritated with her, but all of her intentions are 1000% good intentions. But then we kind of get a little bit of a breakdown, and it's sad. It's awful. And look at these faces. He's so sad. And he's basically saying, yeah, I sold my soul to Valentino, and he uses me as much as he wants. And I think that if I drink and I do these drugs and I'm such an awful, horrible person, maybe I won't be his favorite anymore, and he'll let me go. So I'm going to keep spiraling and spiraling till I'm so difficult to deal with, so awful to be around, he'll leave me. And I think a lot of people in addiction do that. Oh, if I'm such a terrible person, my mom will stop trying to help me. If I'm so terrible and awful and I cheat, I beat people, I do all these horrible things, my family will finally give up on me. My friends will finally abandon me, and then I will have the hell that I deserve. So you create the most awful version of yourself to push people away. And Angel does that. He does it to Dusk. He does it to everyone in the hotel. And he really wants to do that to Valentino. But guess what? Valentino don't give a flying crap about you. The people that don't care about you aren't going to care that you're self-destructing. They like it when you do that, because then you're weaker. You're more vulnerable. They can manipulate you more. So what your goal was only pushed away the good people, not the bad people. Dusk used to be a demon lord, like a ruler guy. So like all the other ones, remember the ones out all at the table in the last episode? So he was one of those people. But he was a gambler. That was his vice. He loved to gamble. Got a little in too deep. Signed a contract with Alistair, and now he's like kind of like this, almost the same situation that Angel Dusk is in, where somebody else has control over me now. Dusk isn't getting the things done to him that what's happening to Angel, but the premise of someone else having unrighteous dominion over my body is. He has the same thing too. So they share that. They share the same fate of being controlled by somebody else. So they kind of make a little connection there, which is pretty funny. Then they have a song about being a loser and being like, you know, the number 0, whatever. It's funny because like, oh, we're the same because we're both losers. And it's kind of a funny song, but I wish there was a little more of an upbeat to it. Like, even though we may be at the bottom and we're losers, we still have each other and we can help each other and we can always grow and be better. But there's no point to the song like that. It's just about them being losers. And one of the few times where I actually laughed in the show, like I actually went, ha, because it's funny. They're singing their little song and having the little number. The song isn't as good as the other song. The shark people come out and they're like, hey, those guys are still out here and they're effing singing still. that's funny because they could have just got away, but they waste their time singing. So they end up getting into a fight. I do like the fact that he throws cards. I love Gambit. He's my favorite X-Men. Gambit and Nightcrawler, 1 and 2. Or 2 and 1, depending on the day. But I like those characters the most. But Gambit throws cards, for those who don't know. And so Dusk can do that too. I'm like, that's so cool. I love the idea of throwing playing cards and using them as weapons. I don't know why that interests me. I just love it. But Angel pulls out some machine guns. They fight these guys off and they beat them. They get back to the hotel and they're all laughing and talking. And you see how natural this is. And it's not about sex and all the guys I can do. And it's just two friends talking to each other. That's growth. That's being a good person. Charlie goes up to Angel and she's like, I'm so sorry, tears in her eyes and everything. And then here we get the real Angel's like, oh, it's okay. It's fine, Charlie. It's okay. And they'll see it just in the sound of his voice and his delivery, you can see that this is the real Angel. This is Angel whose true feelings are being shown, where he's not mad at you. He doesn't hate you. And, everything was made fine. And look at that. Maybe they made a new friend. Good episode. Even though the story didn't go, like the overarching story of like the angels and demons didn't go anywhere. Like we learned literally nothing about that. This is a good character episode for Angel. Will he go right back into the I can suck this and I can do this kind of jokes and everything? Yeah, probably, because that's what the show is about. But it would be nice for him to maybe break away from Valentino. I mean, Charlie, just go, hey, Dad, can you go to this Valentino guy and put him in his place and have him break this contract or buy his contract out so he doesn't have to do these things? Something, anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, help your buddy here. But what I like mostly about the story is people do not get into these industries. Do not get into the adult film industry. Do not start an OnlyFans, because it all leads to this. There's only one logical conclusion. It's going to be abuse. It's going to be alcohol. It's going to be, oh, I blacked out. I don't know what happened to me. I woke up in some strange man's house and there was 10 dudes in the room. I don't even know what happened to me. That's what this leads to. It always does, because it is a perversion of something that shouldn't be exploited the way that it does. And this is so funny with this thing happening to Angel. This is happening in Hollywood this very second. Every second of every day, this is happening to someone. So stay away from those industries. It is not a good thing. It's not empowering. It doesn't make a woman strong or give her agency over her body, because obviously you may think you have agency, but you signed it away to somebody else. So yeah, good episode. No story, but good for Angel. Hopefully he has a new friendship here and realizes that I don't have to sabotage every relationship I'm in with stupid, crazy sexual jokes, and I can just be an honest person with somebody and then find a friendship in that. So yeah, good episode. I get 8.5, maybe a 9, 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good.
Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the video really helps out a lot. It gets the video spread around more people get to see the videos, and we get to make more videos for you guys. So thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you guys.